All right, we're live. So, hey everyone, this is the No Nonsense Podcast. This is another episode. I'm your host, Oscar Montiel, along with my co-host Naim Abul Hawa. I know you guys are used to him kicking off the episodes, but this is an episode, that he's gonna talk about himself, more of his self-reflecting journey on weight loss, and we're gonna have a little bit of a debate. So thanks for being here with us. Before we get started, I would like to remind you all to subscribe to our new channel, which is the No Nonsense Podcast channel. I'll put the link in the description below. Also, to like this video, turn on your notifications, so that way you know when we publish and put up new content. We post content 3 to 4 times a week, but you will get the notifications if you subscribe. All right, so without further ado, Naim, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, very well. Today it sounds like we're going to get down and dirty. We're going to get personal. So y'all bring your extra large sodas and your 54 ounce, 64 ounce, 84 ounce, 96 ounce, whatever suits you. Oh, no problem. I know it's always good to reflect on our amazing meals. And get your popcorn with cheddar, without cheddar, however you like it. Buttered, extra buttered, garlic buttered, hummus buttered. I mean,
wait, is that a thing?
Why not? Why not? Let's make.
I was gonna say, is that a thing? Because I would actually really like to taste it.
I'd like to try hummus popcorn. Now, I will say, oh, this is good. Oscar, you asked me once off air, and you asked me in a very serious and sincere way. Name one food I don't like. I don't care for. I wouldn't eat. You know what that food is?
What?
Oh my gosh, man. I'm going to take you guys real far back. The food I don't care for, period, is popcorn. I don't care for that stuff. I am not about popcorn, man.
Well, you're not about snacks in general, and popcorn is a snack.
Yeah, I know, but trust me, there are nights when I could pop open a nice bag of Doritos or Cheetos and get lost, like enjoy myself. But yeah, I'm not about snacks in general, but popcorn.
Not even if it's like caramel or like different brands of popcorn. Like there's poof corn, which really doesn't taste like it's cheddar popcorn, but it's more crunchy than because you know how popcorn gets stuck in your teeth and stuff like that. But this, like poof corn, I think it's called, unless they changed the name, because it's been years since I had that stuff. Is like it's really crunchy popcorn.
No, I don't know that stuff. I don't know that I've tried it. I've had chips. They call them like popcorners, but they're not like popcorn. They're chips. They're like cheddar flavored chips. They call them popcorners, I think.
What about have you tried the what is it? There's a brand that my sister gets that I like. It has like a cinnamony like flavor or something like that.
Maybe I'll like that. What I will tell you, I like caramel corn if it's really coated, and it's like
same here.
I don't know if you've seen those ones that are like in a jar with nuts and like chocolate chips, and it's like caramel corn, but it's not just the caramel corn. There's lots of like chocolate chips and stuff. It's like the kind of stuff you'd find in the Midwest, right? It's like not even kettle corn, not like the sweet stuff, but like it's like chunks. Literally, the caramel corn is more a chunk of caramel than anything else. Do you know which ones I'm talking about? They come in a canister.
I don't mess with stuff in a canister. I'm more of a bag.
Yeah, no, this doesn't come in a bag. It's with nuts.
Maybe I would get. Well, then again, Cheez-Its come in a bag.
Cheez-Its are actually decent. You know what I like to do Cheez-Its with? I love to put Cheez-Its in so I would make like a tortilla not a tortilla, a wrap with a tortilla, with rice, like basically a burrito. and I'd slide some Cheez-Its in that. Ooh, it tastes good, man. You just slide a couple of Cheez-Its in there, you get that little crunch. Or Cheez-Its on a burger. Yeah, they're pretty good on burgers. I also like them in my egg omelets. So yeah, I put Cheez-Its in weird places. But okay, that's not how
I
that should
mean,
be interpreted.
I
Um,
mean, whatever. I mean, whatever floats your boat, I guess. I mean, I've never experimented with. I mean, I've seen how taco salad's made, but other than that, like, I don't crush up, different
chips to
things.
stuff in your food.
Yeah. I mean, as far as I
Didn't
would go is
McDonald's? Go ahead
as
first, then I'll go ahead.
as far as I would go is. So I remember I was at Giant one day, and I would get like spread out my flavors of chips, and I decided to get hot fries, like the original, because there's the
Hmm.
Chester fries, which is the Cheeto brand, and then there's the original. I don't know what the original. I don't want to mispronounce it, but so the shopping assistant was like, so you're trying to throw those hot fries in the dang it, what's that soup called? Shoot, ramen
Ramen or
and
cup of
ramen noodle
noodles?
soup.
Hmm.
And I
Ooh,
was
that's
like,
a good
wait,
idea.
like that's wait, well, what? And he was like, yeah, like you can toss a few in there, and it's pretty good. So I tried that once, and it actually is really good, to my surprise.
Mm, mm, mm. Indeed, it's really good. Sorry, I was drinking some really tasty water. Water is like has that flavor about it. It tastes real good. But yeah, no, hot fries in ramen noodle soup is the only place I'll eat hot fries. Hot fries are not my top. You know what? Maybe you are right. I'm just not a snack person. But yeah, hot fries have never cut it for me. But I will say popcorn. I think part of the reason I don't like it
It
is
gets
I
stuck
feel
in
like
your
I'm just
teeth. That's
well
that's the
that too. Yeah,
I'm not a
that's
big fan of
annoying.
popcorn. That's the only reason I don't like popcorn.
I don't like popcorn because I feel like I'm just eating empty light air. I
Yeah.
don't know. Some people say they flavor it up, but for me, I just don't get the flavor. And
I mean,
then,
you can
oh
add
my
salt
gosh,
or hot sauce. You can put
yeah.
like butter.
But why can't you do that with chips? Like I don't know. I think it would be better with chips. Oh my gosh, you know what's really good? Making loaded chips, man. Just taking like some Doritos or whatever chips of your choice and put some beans, sour cream, cheese,
So
chicken.
I remember, my mom when like before she had these like health issues, she used to there was this one time when I forgot where we were where she started craving it. I
Hmm.
forgot I forgot what we were. I think we were at the mall here in Potomac Mill, the Potomac Mills Mall. This was like when I was, let me
We
see,
was shopping at the mall.
my sister was 18, I believe, so I was 14. Okay, yeah. So I was
Which probably made
14.
me 13. Anyway, unimportant. We didn't know each other at the time.
Yeah, so then she's like, I want Doritos. And I
Mm.
want Doritos and I'm gonna whip up some, cabbage and some salsa or we call it curtido, which is like the Hispanic version of coleslaw. She's like, I'm gonna whip that up with Doritos and everything. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'm down for that. Like, that's a tasty snack. So
You
my
said it's
mom
called
goes to the
cortillo?
curtido.
Uh, uh, okay. Anyway, continue. Your
So
mom goes to the
I'm
grocery store.
so my mom goes to the grocery store, gets the chips and everything, and I'm expecting to see Doritos. You know what she ended up buying instead? Because I think she confused Doritos for what the chips were.
The tortilla chips.
No,
What'd she end up buying instead?
Fritos.
Oh, that's good. It didn't
So it ended up being stuffed Fritos instead.
Ooh, that's so tasty, man. Man, you got me hungry, man. And I was eating on our previous podcast. I can't be eating now, too.
Well,
But
anyways, well,
no.
I digress. But we're gonna have to, talk. This will tie into Naeem's little self journey.
Yeah, yeah, but there's so much more. So McDonald's, didn't they have the Frito burger at one point? It was like a burger, one of the regular McDonald's burgers, not so fancy, not so cool. But they threw
I don't know
Fritos in
anything
it.
about. I don't know about McDonald's, but I know Taco Bell has those. They have two versions. They have one with spicy Doritos, which is called the.
Dorito
God,
Locos Tacos.
no, that's Doritos. Fritos. Sorry, I know. Taco Bell had Fritos. Oh man. Oh, so it's called the beefy crunchy burrito. Is the
Uh-huh.
spicy one. I don't know what the non-spicy version was called though.
The beefy
I,
crunchy burrito. I'll have to go check that out one day when I'm in a Taco Bell
no,
nearby.
it's it's seasonal. Like they do it whenever.
Well, Taco Bell, be sure to reach out to me when you guys got it back on your menu. Yeah, but it was like a McDonald's burger. What's the one I think they have at Sonic or Jack in the Box, one of those places out west? I haven't tried it, but I hear so much raving reviews about a Frito pie. A Frito pie, which I heard is like a whole bunch of unhealthiness with Fritos and chili and goodness. Ooh wee. But so I love food, right? I think that's been well established here on this episode. Oscar, you and I can debate who likes food more, but I don't know that there's a definite answer.
I like food to the point where I will be content, but I'm not gonna overflow my stomach, which is why we're gonna talk about that. But anyways, continue.
Okay, so COVID allows lots of people to reflect, right? And well, honestly, I've been doing this pre-COVID, but it's COVID that really allowed me to, I guess, pat myself on the back for my accomplishment here in this regard. Um, but basically, what had happened was way back when I was doing training in Richmond. Um, I so I've always loved food since I was a kid. But I got to a point where I always wanted to try new foods and more foods, and there's nothing wrong with exploring. But big portions was the way to go for me. And all my life was, kind of like, it was manageable. I would eat a lot, but you're young, you burn it off, you're still looking so fine, it's all cool. But at that point, when I was down in Richmond, I took my metabolism for granted, and I took off with my consuming skills. And I definitely started to eat a lot more. I'm talking a large pizza per night. I'm talking, you know, uh, 7 lamb burgers. Those are pretty good, by the way. I'm talking like I would go ham without the ham, but stuff like that. So it was wild. And I remember coming home for the winter vacation, Christmas break, whatever secular religious we want to call it, um, from training. And the first thing my parents had noticed is, whoa, you put on some pounds, honey. And I thought, pounds are cool. I really didn't care. I was like, oh, that's fine. That's a testament to my eating abilities. Whatever. All the while I'm having foot pain and knee pain and joint pain and ankle pain and this pain and that pain and Spain pain. Might as well go to Spain. Spain's a beautiful place, by the way. There's no pain in Spain. But there is a pain on a window pane. So yeah, pretty poor pull of words there. But so I didn't care. I was like, yeah, sure. I went back and did it all over again. I would eat $40 or $50 worth of Chinese food every night. Like I'd go wild, man. Then we had this
And
cafeteria, which
mind
was
you, he
free
would
access
actually,
food.
yeah, exactly, and he would double eat. Let's just
Yeah, so I'll eat ham, not ham, but I'll eat at the cafeteria. Um, and then I'll turn right around and get me a few kung pao chicken and other great Chinese delicacies, Chinese American delicacies. I'm pretty sure they eat different stuff in China. But so yeah, so it was fine. It was whatever. So I come back from training, 2016, 2017. I'm still feeling fine. I'm not even paying attention to it, you know. And the way the pounds, I guess, balanced out in my body, I was still finely shaped. I was still well shaped, you know, shapely, if you will. You know, I had fat in all the right places. The only thing that really stood out was my gut, you know, having a little bit of a stomach, pardon. And but other than that, I wasn't rocking. You know, I did have a fine looking booty. I'm not gonna lie, definitely slappable. But but other than that, you know, it was normal. I didn't look obese, right? I didn't look the pounds I actually was. Just the way the fat shifted around my body shifted beautifully. I don't know if that sounds weird, but it's like the way my fat formed out underestimated the seriousness of the poundage I put on. So, you know, I'm here, you know, all throughout high school, I was somewhere between 170, 180, which is cool. But by the end of training, which was like a year or two later since the last weight check I had gotten at that point, I was easily 200, 204 pounds. But, you know, it doesn't stop there, of course. For me, it's very much whatever. It's logically, I didn't care. It didn't affect me in terms of security or confidence. I wasn't worried about image. The pain was sort of so minimal. Looking back at it now, it was not minimal, but it felt minimal because now since it's gone, it feels so much better. But it was so minimal at the time in my impression that I was just like, yeah, whatever. It's there. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to worry about it. But I'm not going to do anything to change it either. It wasn't hurting me in any way. So Oscar used to go on great food escapades with me, and I would drag him along, and you know, come on, Oscar, you know you want to go with me, and you're like, but the way you eat, man, and you know,
Okay, so let me give you a little context. So I learned pretty early on that if you're gonna go out with Naim, it's best to either split your tell him, hey, we're splitting like the tab because I know that how much you eat, or take him to a buffet. But if you do end up going to a buffet, be prepared to be there for hours and hours on end. I'll tell you reason why. So I don't know if it's because of his upbringing where his fam didn't take him to, American based restaurants and stuff like that. So when I would, tell him about certain restaurants, uh, he wouldn't know anything about them. So I was like, hey,
we were very much a buffet family. Let's just put it that way. We used to
okay,
go to buffets because we would eat it and grub it and everything. So outside of the buffet realm, we had gone to a few restaurants here and there, but it wasn't like a family, like, you know how some families go every Saturday to the restaurant. It wasn't like
yeah,
us, but there
okay,
were many restaurants you brought up that I hadn't been to.
yeah. So I remember that this place, shout out to Cece's Pizza, um, where they had a pretty good deal where you can like just need to pay $5,
Now,
and you can
Cece's was a place I hadn't really gone to in terms of buffets, just to clarify.
no,
Continue.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a really good deal and cheap, and I was like, hey, Naeem, for like you know $5, it's cheap and it's a buffet, so I might as well take advantage. So Naeem decides we're like, okay, it's Friday night here in Richmond. I didn't go home yet for the weekend, so I just so we went down to CC's, and boy, we were there for hours, and it was fortunate. So Naeem didn't have his phone with him at the time, so he had no way of getting an Uber. I literally had to like literally like tell him, okay, you don't have your phone, you don't have any way of getting back home, getting anywhere back to the center. So You either come with me in the Uber or go home with a stranger. And in Richmond, I think you would rather leave with a friend than with a stranger. And that's how I finally
Richmond,
got him
Virginia is
out.
not the type of place you just want to hop in some dude's car and hope you'll be alive at the end of it.
Yeah, exactly. So, that gives you, and he ate 15 plates of pizza. And I flew
Separate
to
from
sleep.
dessert, of course.
No, that's with the dessert, I think. I remember
I
it was
remember.
14.
So I remember
No,
total
it was
having
four.
27 slices. I don't know how many plates, but I know it was
So it
27
was
slices
14.
in total.
So it was 14. I remember this perfectly. So it was 14 plates and like one dessert plate.
Well, it
Cause
goes to show how full I was by dessert.
no, it's because I literally not threatened you, but I was like, you either come with me right now or take your chances at finding out the ride.
And here's the thing. Part of what made it also longer is I'm a slow eater, right? I don't eat fast because I want to enjoy it. I want to analyze the food from every angle. I want to get acquainted with the food. I want us to tell stories to each other at night. So it's kind of like, yeah, I've been caught asleep talking about food once or twice in my life. It's pretty bad. But more than once or twice. You can ask my siblings. But
Okay, that's a story I want
it's
to hear because I haven't seen you done that.
croissants, donuts. I've talked about everything, but stuff I don't
Yeah,
even care to eat.
but with your siblings, and how did that go? Like, how did that come?
No, someone they had just overheard me, and then they told me the next morning. I was like, "Oh, I guess." But so yeah, so I was, and this was even when I was younger too. I was sitting there enjoying the food. I was like analyzing the sauce, analyzing the cheese. I was sitting here doing gourmet chef on buffet pizza, so if that gives you an idea. Um, but anyway, so it was about the quantity for me. I was enjoying myself, having a good time. And my rules always at restaurants, yeah, man, we all going to take time. It's okay. Let's all just have a good time. Y'all enjoy yourselves. Y'all just dig in. But see, it's one thing if that's for 2 hours, but like 5 hours later, bro wants to get home. So yeah, that gives you guys one example. There are so many
Mind you,
others. Like I would.
I wasn't sure if I was gonna go home that day either.
Oh yeah, that's right. So you used to pack, and God knows what else you had to do. Um, but I was just grubbing. So there are so many crazy Richmond food stories, but it doesn't stop there. It really doesn't. So when I get back from Richmond, I'm 204, like I said, 202 pounds. I'm rocking the big booty, and it just like it kind of plateaus. It kind of flattens. Most of 2017, most of the end of 2017 into 2018 in terms of my weight. In terms of my eating, it's still going up there, but my weight plateaus. It doesn't I don't get fatter, I don't get skinnier. I start getting very involved in an amazing organization called the National Federation of the Blind. So I'm busy doing stuff. It's my first year of college, and all these great things are going on in my life. So food isn't taking front and center, and food never really took front and center of my life, but I do enjoy it when I enjoy it, right? And so, or this is how I perceived it at the time as enjoying, but we'll get into that later and how I had to come to a reckoning. Summer 2018, I go out of state for a nice job opportunity, and I am in a healthier part of the country. I'm not saying that Northern Virginia and DC ain't a healthy part of the country, but Minnesota is where I was, and Minnesota statistically has higher ratings for being healthier, healthier food, more athletic. And it was summertime, which is the good weather time over there in Minnesota, because in the winter it gets cold. So I started eating lots of items like hummus and carrots. Hummus is like a chickpea paste from the Middle East. Very good stuff. Mediterranean food's amazing and healthy. And I've talked about my Palestinian Arab roots on this podcast before. So there's definitely lots to talk about in terms of good food. And there was lots of Middle Eastern Arabic food at the time there. There's a large Middle Eastern population community in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I was ordering lots of good Middle Eastern food, Indian food, all the tasty, healthy food. and it was just going fine. I wasn't under eating. I definitely was overeating. But I came back from there, and then a short stint in Florida, beautiful place, Orlando, Florida. I came back, and I remember the first thing my mom had said is, "You look a little thinner." A little thinner? Well, I haven't been improving my eating habits in any way. Well, I go to get weighed in at my primary care physician, who I visit often, and she's like, "Yeah, you're at 188." I'm like, so I dropped like 12, 13, 15 pounds. That's not bad. Um, but I think I have a second wave, if you will, post coming back from the great state of Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes, I think is their nickname. Um, and I think it's the quality of the food I start to eat. I go to Northern Virginia Community College, and I have many great friends there. But for me, I've always associated hanging out with friends with getting some grub, getting something to eat. So every time I'd hang out with my cousin Obey, who we've had on this podcast, and other friends, like a good friend of mine, Sofian, we would all hang out. Shout out to Sofian if you're checking this out. Hopefully we'll have you on a pod one day. You have lots of interesting perspectives too. And so, when I would hang out with folks, I'd just go to Northern Virginia Community College cafeteria and get some greasy food. I'm talking fried mozzarella sticks. I'm talking pizza. I'm talking chicken tenders, cheesesteaks, gyros. You're not talking the healthiest of food. But it's food, right? And that's how I perceived it. They had, I don't know if you ever used to get their burrito bowls, Oscar. Their burrito bowls were pretty good. Yeah, their burrito bowls were pretty good at Nova. Um, but yeah, their burrito bowls were pretty good, yeah. Um, but yeah, so I was getting lots of greasy food. Oscar, are you still with me? I think I lost you.
Yeah. No.
You're still with me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just listening.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I was getting lots of greasy food, sandwiches, those kinds of things. By the way, quick question to Arab viewers out there: is it me, or is it just sometimes we mix Arabic and English? It's like Arablish or something. Like I just said sandwiches, my sandwiches. Like rose, my rose. Like. But anyway, rose is our word for rice, which probably comes from the Spanish arroz. But yeah, so I didn't really pay attention to it because I didn't realize I was putting on the pounds, but I definitely realized I was eating greasy because you'd feel the acid bubbling up. So December 2018, I have a travel I have to commit to, but before I travel, I went to go visit my my cardiologist. Yeah, my cardiologist, and shout out Dr. Tariq Haddad, very good cardiologist out there here in the Northern Virginia area. Remember, I'm in the 22182 zip code, so he's not too far from me. I went in, and I remember I went in for a weigh-in and other stuff, and I went in at 218 pounds, so basically 220 pounds. And the first thing I thought is, 40 pounds in 4 or 5 months? Wow. Like it was definitely a shocker. Wait, yeah, I mean less than 40 pounds because it was 188, not 180. But it was definitely 30 pounds actually to be exact. But it was definitely a shocker. It was like, wow, I put on all that weight in like 3 or 4 months. So first lesson I learned immediately was really how fast you can put on weight sometimes. So, but I still, my stubborn head, they say in Arabic, there's a proverb about folks who are stubborn. It says, "Mukhak Turki," which means you have the mind of a Turk. There was a time when the Ottomans had ruled over the Arabs. I think that's where that originated from. But imperialism, we know the results of those things. So the mind of a Turk means you have a stubborn mind, a stubborn point of view. And I still didn't care. I was like, no, I'm chilling. I'm feeling good, whatever. Because it wasn't front and center for me. See, my health, I had interpreted, you're young, you're invincible, blah 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 blah. There can't be any harm, right? So, you know, I went ahead. I went, made my travel, uh, visited interesting, nice, beautiful parts of the country. I went out to places like Phoenix, Arizona, San Diego, California. San Diego is definitely worth checking out, by the way. And so is Phoenix. But yeah. So I came back. It was January. I was fine, whatever. I didn't think of my weight. I remember this night very clearly. February 4th, 2019. And folks, third or fourth, I think. It was the night of the third into the fourth. It was post Super Bowl, I think. So Super Bowl was the second. I feel like saying Super Bowl was the second. Anyway, I'll have to find out. But Super Bowl was on the Sunday. Okay, let's just work with it this way. Super Bowl was on the Sunday. I felt a little weird. Not sick, just a little weird. But I paid no heed to it. I said, oh, a little headache. I'll sleep it off. It'll be gone. I did. I slept it off, and then I went to school Monday. I was like feeling okay, but it was definitely, there was something off about me. And there was no one to come and turn me right on. Okay, no, that was a poor pickup line, I guess. I was feeling off today until I saw you, and I was turned right on. But anyway, so it was just kind of like whatever. Okay, it's a Monday. You feel that way Mondays. I come home. There's a splendid dinner prepared. Some pot stickers, some buffalo wings. I remember it clearly. And by the way, my family are very, very healthy folks and prepare lots of Mediterranean and Middle Eastern cuisine. So the fact that it was pot stickers, taquitos, and wings that particular night was just coincidental. It's not a common fare around here. So, but hey, I guess it adds to this experience. So I go ahead and have those tastiness and tortellinis and stuff. So I remember asking for ranch with my wings, and I ate, and I was fine. Then I went up to my room, just to watch a few news clips on YouTube or something, listen to some podcasts. I love me some Joe Rogan. I forget what I was doing, but anyway, I start listening to something, and then my stomach starts gripping me. And here's the thing, folks. I'm gonna let you guys know this is gonna get a little graphic, so. If you guys have weak stomachs, please ensure that you fast forward here.
Please make sure you didn't eat beforehand.
Yeah, so pause and revisit this later if you just had a nice all-you-can-eat buffet meal at Cece's. Because Cece's does not want to see the result of what happens to you as a result of what I'm going to describe here. So my stomach starts to knot up. But here's the problem with me. I'm telling you, I'm stubborn. I'm like, I won't push through this. It's just a stomach ache. I'll just go to sleep. So I lay up in bed, and I think I fell asleep, right? And then my phone rings. So my mom calls me because she's wondering where I disappeared to. I'm like, yeah, I'm not feeling too well. Just my stomach knotting up, blah, 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 blah. And I probably didn't sound like that at the time. I probably sounded more like this. But anyway. So I think I had told her, you know what, I'm going to go to the restroom. See if you can get like a disposable bucket, something we could throw away in the case that I got to let out, like you guys know. So I go to the restroom. And before I even make it to the bathtub, the toilet, no, like I don't make it. It's crazy because, I don't want to say I'm a pro when it comes to throwing up, but I've thrown up a lot in my life.
You're proper.
Yeah, exactly. So I've done it a lot, so I know how it works. But this time I just don't make it, right? And it was the worst time to not make it, man. I felt my guts coming out of me. And I mean it. Like I've thrown up
to this
many
day,
a time
I find it funny. I know
times.
it's revolting, but it's funny when you talk.
And the thing is, like, I felt the energy being sucked out of me. I thought like I was going through some like devil like exorcism hocus pocus. Like I did not know what was going on. And it's crazy because it gets worse. It's like nonstop for like 2 or 3 minutes. Then I finally, I'm very dizzy, but I turn to like the bathtub, but then I gotta sit down on the toilet at the same time. Luckily, they're close to each other in this particular bathroom I'm in. And I just grabbed the trash can so I could throw up in what's an already full trash can. Part of why it's full is because I've already started splashing throw up everywhere into it. So this is really gross, I told you guys. But all of a sudden, I also need to drop a dump. It's like, what's going on? Why did all my valves turn on? Like, what? It was... So I'm drawing this picture to really show the magnitude of what was going on with me physically at the time. It was coming out of both ends, and it was
And it was
painful.
all over his room, almost into his sister's room because they're sweet mates.
Yeah. So we're suite mates, myself and my sister, and it's all over the bathroom, and it's gonna start flowing into her room. By now, my mom's coming because obviously, my voice is shaking the world, So she's like, and I'm pretty sure she could see it running down the bathroom floor. Like, we should have her on this episode to talk about her reaction to all this. But all I remember is I felt horrible. Like, this was the worst I've by far ever felt in my life. And there are other times I've thrown up a good deal. But it was horrible, and it was the biggest I've ever thrown up. So if there's a throw-up competition, I would have won that. It was disgustingly, grossly large amounts. All the while, like I said, I'm coming out the other end.
And his dinner made a reappearance.
Dude, I don't know if it's just that dinner. I think it's the whole week of dinners.
So here's the thing. So I remember you telling me that because when you eat buffalo wings, you also like to eat the bone. And from you told me you threw up even the chunks of bone.
I think I felt chunks of bone come out too, because I do enjoy eating some of the bone. I don't eat the whole thing. I don't eat where it gets sharp, but I eat the edges, the cartilage, all that ooey gooey goodness. And I felt some of that coming out too. And it was just like, have you ever felt so dizzy? Like, you've just emptied out all your nutrients for a year type dizzy?
Yeah.
And look, I don't know how it feels for a woman to give labor, to give birth, but I think that's the closest a man could ever come to that. Because it was tiring, and my bowel movements, my bowel muscles are still working. I'm shooting out the other end, almost like a diarrhea, and chunky but wet at the same time. Again, I told you guys it's going to be disgusting, but I really have to illustrate the point. And man, I know by that point I couldn't clean anything, right? I was like super, super, super dizzy. So my mom comes in, and she's like, she's about to have an anxiety attack. Rightfully so. I mean, no one could blame her, right? Like, it was disgusting, and I'm pretty sure it reeked. And it reeked foul, man. It reeked foul. And I was just like, I could barely get like toilet paper to clean my my bum, like if anything, it was hard to reach down there and clean, and I never viewed it as being hard to clean down there because I've always been able to clean down there, but in this particular instance, it was truly gruesomely hard. And I was just like, I remembered the only voice I heard in my head was my voice saying, boy, something's got to change. Something has got to change. And it was horrible. I barely like wiggled into the bathtub. I'm not even thinking about cleaning it up at this point. It's just like I can't I barely could move, but I had to clean myself up. Um, by this point, my mom is like assembling the whole crew. she, she's like
But
summoning
then,
my sisters for
like,
aid.
yeah, yeah. But from what
My
I
sisters
understand, that
decide to use the study, they dip. They're like, yo, we're studying. They dip. And it was hilarious because, it was just like, I can't believe I had to get the whole crew. Because, I like to think I'm very independent. I like to think I could clean my own stuff. I could take care of my own stuff. I'm the type of guy who, if I go to jail, I'm not going to ask anyone for bail. I'll find a way to get my own bail. And if I can't get bail, then I'll serve my term till trial date comes. I'm just like that. And that is good in ways and could be problematic in ways when you really do need help from a brother. But it was just like, I didn't want to expect them to clean up my nastiness, but at the same time, I knew very well. I knew very, very well I wasn't going to be able to that night. I was done with. Like, barely showered in the hot water. I felt like I was dizzy. And it was horrible. It was bad. I tuck myself in. I fall asleep like a baby. Get up a few hours later because I need to go do another round of this. Um, Now, the second round was pure dry heaving. I know you guys are familiar with dry heaving, where it's barely anything's coming out, but
it's just your
your
stomach
muscles are
acid.
reacting. Yeah, stomach, which is more painful, really. Your muscles
Yeah,
are
it is.
reacting, and it's throwing up, and you're burning your esophagus. You're burning your esophagus and your throat and everything. But at that point, I think that was a clear indication that there was nothing else, no food left in me. Like everything came out. So it was a dry heaving session, a few more dry heaving sessions that night. But I woke up the next day drained. I couldn't go to school. I just couldn't move. And my mom said, the solution is you got to eat some broth. I'm like, no, I'm not going to eat anything. I don't want anything to do with this evil devil called food. Like, just keep that hocus pocus voodoo away from me. Like, I'm not about that. So, mind you, this is the guy who ate 14 plates of CC's pizza and a plate of dessert on top. So this got to tell you something, right? And it was like, that's the other thing about me. When I'm really sick, I don't eat at all. Like I'm one of those who starves if need be. But it was really a reflection opportunity for me. I had to pause, and I had to realize I have to stop doping myself. I have to stop telling myself that everything's okay and it's okay to be 220, 230, 240 pounds
Mind you,
walking around.
and funny enough, I don't think you were 230. I think you were like 270 at that time too,
I
like
was I was
275.
pretty large. I was pretty large. I don't know what I was, but I was pretty large. And it felt horrible. I knew I had to change something. I knew I had to do something, and the realization of it, no one could have told me that. No one. People had advised me. My mom had told me, hey, you're putting on pounds. It may not look bad now, but it's gonna take a toll on you. Maybe when you're 30, when you're 35, when you're 40, when you're 80. And I was just like, yeah, I'll think about that when that happens. And I really didn't care to hear it, not because I was denying it. I just didn't see the value in the advice. It just didn't mean much of anything to me. And like I knew in theory it's healthy to be healthy, right? I'm not that dumb, but in practice, I didn't feel the urgency, the quick need to seriously take care of it. So I remember it was the Tuesday I stayed home from school because I wasn't going to go and pass out everywhere. Um, I remember the Tuesday, I just was in my room, in and out of sleep, thinking. I said, man, this is going to happen every time if you have this much pounds on you, you're not going to be able to clean yourself up. You're not going to be able to get in those crevices. You're not going to be able to. And I said, I have to do something. But what's the root of the problem? Why am I here? I had to ask myself that too. I went to school that Wednesday. Still very wobbly, but I have to do it. You know how college works. You can't be missing too many days. And I was wobbling around, and I got me a Gatorade because I had to give myself some energy. And I remember sitting there in that cafe, smelling the good food, hearing about people talking about their good chicken salad wraps. And I said, oh, I know I want to get me some ooey gooey cheesy fried mozzarella sticks right now. And I walked over there, and I stood there. And by this point, the cashier, kind gentleman, knew me very well, so he knew kind of what I wanted. He's like, you want mozzarella sticks, you want pizza, you want a chicken quesadilla, you want the burrito bowl, and you want a Philly cheesesteak. Like, he knew my order. Like, that's how much I used to get. And I said, whoa, do I get that much usually? He's like, yeah, of course you do. I'm like, what? And hearing it back, I realized, wow. And I said, no, all I want is a Gatorade, please. And then I realized the problem was the food. I was physically active to a degree. I tried to get in at least a walk every day, at least a half-hour walk, if not an hour,
Well,
preferably more if I
in
can.
Northern Virginia Community College, especially the campus that you went to, it's like that can be your exercise, especially where
Yes,
the in relation to where the bus drops you off.
yes. It's a very walkable campus, very good exercise. So exercise wasn't so much my problem. Well, you could argue you need more than 30 minutes a day, but exercise wasn't my problem. The sole issue was food, was diet. And I don't even know that it was the quantity. I'm not going to deny it was the quantity, but I think it was also a big chunk of it was the quality. Mozzarella sticks every day, it's going to take a toll on you, man. Um, by the way, their mozzarella sticks are pretty good at Nova. Just thinking about them right now. So I remember, I went home that Wednesday. I sat there. I started listening to Doris Day. She's got some good music, like Perhaps. I started listening to all these other romantic songs. I don't know why. It was just that cold type of rainy day, and romance was on the mind. And at the time, I was in a serious relationship. I think we brought that up in the previous episode with my now best friend. And I was thinking, look, also, I can't be selfish. Like, I have someone I care for. I have a family I care for. I have someone who's dear to my heart. And it's unfair to all of them, as well as it's unfair to me, to continue this unhealthy streak. And then I had a really good friend call me up, and we chatted it up for a little while. We chopped it up, as they say. And he and I were just talking about, hey, hanging out and having a good time and whatever, 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 right? And it had come up. He said, yo, we have got to hang out. I said, yeah, we have got to do that. And he had made some comment about, yo, man, but let's just hang out for a little while, because every time I seem to hang out with you, you always drag me to go find some sort of food. And it's funny how he made that comment just at that time when I was reflecting. I'm like, wow, all my friends see me as the food man or something. Like, is that the image I give off? Like, what am I doing with myself? Like, if that's how people perceive me. And uh, a story from a little before that I skipped over that probably also kind of played a role in all of this. A few months before, I think it was October, I had gotten so I have my bank account, my income, whatever, whatever, right? But I had gotten a bank statement in the mail because I stopped using online banking, so they automatically send you bank statements to the house, to the mail, through the mail. And by chance, my mom came across, and to keep all details aside, she had realized, whoo wee, how much I spend. And she was definitely not happy. She's like, look, the money's yours, but like, what the heck? You're spending that much money per week and per month on food? I'm talking, cheap food. It's not like I'm going to a fine dine restaurant, but easily $500 a month, my friend. And mind you, I still used to come home every day and eat at the house too. It's not like I wouldn't eat at home. And she was just like, yo, I get it if you go get a $5 sandwich. I get it if you go get a $2 Gatorade. I get it if you go get a $5 coffee. I don't drink much coffee. It doesn't work out with me. It doesn't react well. But that's an example. But $500 a month, plus you're coming home every day. It's not like you come home saying, "Oh, I already ate." No, I would come home and join them at dinner, join them at lunch, join them at breakfast. So it's like, where do I get the time? Where do I get the time? And she was very frustrated, very disappointed. Being a rebellious young man at the time, I had said, it's my money. I could go spend $5 on whatever I want. So at that time, this was pre this whole evening I told you guys about. At the time, hello Oscar, you still here?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Sorry, voiceover started saying connecting ellipsis, so it implied that we lost connection. Did you lose me much or no?
No.
Okay. So basically my mom's point at the time fell on deaf ears. Like I said, this was before that incident where I threw up everywhere. But it came back rushing after I had spoken to this good friend, and he had mentioned, hey, you want to hang out, but I don't want to get some food. So I'm already having friends telling me that they don't want to associate with me because I eat too much. Not directly, but that's what they're implying. My impulsive spending, my aggressive spending. I'm already wasting money on food, not spending money on food, wasting money on food. Not spending money on food, again, wasting money on food. Let's make that clear. It wasn't spending, it was wasting. And I was emptying out of both ends 2 nights before. I was wobbling. I heard a man read back my typical traditional order. It just all came crashing down, and I was like, no, this has got to stop. So that's when I came to my reckoning, right? That's when I came to my, hey, I gotta stop. So it was in a span of 48 hours, everything came rushing to the forefront. I said, I gotta change something. So I remember I was not ready to admit it for a few weeks because I didn't want to admit defeat, right? I didn't want to admit, hey, I'm doing something wrong. I didn't want to tell folks, yo, yeah, you guys were right all along. I should have been listening to y'all. Like, I didn't want to tell anyone that. So I just tried to slowly figure it out, but it's hard to do it on your own. It's hard to do it on your own. So I remember going to my mom first because I see my mom on a daily basis, and she's an amazing person. I don't tell her enough, honestly, how much I love her and care for her. But I remember going to her and I said, hey, my biggest problem is portion control. I am going to need for you to work with me on portion control. I'm going to ask for more. You're going to have to deny me more. I'm going to have to live up to my own expectation and not go try to get food outside the house. I'm going to have to take steps. But while we're around each other, also make sure you hold me accountable. Hold my feet to the fire that I'm telling you I'm committing to. Hold me to account. Make sure I'm held accountable. And so I had to go ahead and tell her that. And she was like, yeah, I was trying to, but there's only so much you can tell at this point. I think I was 21. There's only so much you can tell a grown adult man, age 21, So my portion control journey did not happen overnight. I slowly started chipping away at my meal size. There were times when Oscar and I would be chatting on the phone late at night, and I'd go down to go sneak me some midnight snacks. I don't know if you remember that, Oscar.
Yeah, I remember.
I would go just pour me whatever's left in the gallon of milk. I'm pretty sure my family would wonder, where'd the rest of the milk go? You know, I'd go get me some fried chicken, whatever else is in the fridge. And then I started to hang out with this good friend I referenced earlier every Thursday. And we used to go, and I would grub, right? I would grub. I'm not going to tell you I wouldn't. But and it was large quantities, but it was not to the degree that I was grubbing before. It wasn't no 7 or 8 hamburgers, a large pizza every night. I was grubbing a large amount, more than I should, but I was starting to take a step down. And this individual probably didn't notice it because it was still a very large amount, and he was wondering how. But so, you know, I started to grub a little bit less, slowly, incrementally. I think it was May 22nd or May 23rd of 2019, pre Memorial Day weekend of 2019, pre another travel I was making out to Phoenix, Arizona, that I weighed myself, and I was 206 pounds, I think. I said, whoa, this is working. It's not ideal, but it's working. I'm like at Richmond levels now. That's good. Now, what I've noticed is I was yo-yoing, you know, like I said in the past, 204,
Yo-yoing.
188,
I like that.
220.
I like that. Oh my God, yo-yoing.
Yes, I was yo-yoing on the scale. You know, so I said, don't get too hopeful. Maybe this is a good sign, but maybe I still have to do more. So I'm fasting Ramadan at this point. So that also kind of helps, you know, with portion control. I'm not eating every 2 minutes. And so I, go out, make my trip to Phoenix, Arizona, spend about 10 days there, about 10 days, and I come back. I come back home. Yeah, it's normal. And then I make another trip to Las Vegas, Nevada in July for a convention. And I come back from there. And I was grubbing hard in Las Vegas. I was having a good time because that's what you do in Las Vegas. So I came home to see what my weight was. Just curious, where am I? And I was at, surprisingly enough, 192. And I said, whoa, something's working. Something's working. And I go out. Oscar and I go to a beautiful restaurant called El Paso, and we get some Mexican food, very, very tasty Mexican food. I get a large amount. Oscar can admit it. I got a Super Jose burrito
Well, I
covered
don't
in
know the
cheese.
size of that burrito. That's the thing. So I don't know if it's, I just because I only gotten one burrito from them, so I really don't know the size of the
This was
burrito.
designed to be large. It was called the Super Jose burrito. And I got some, I think, what was it I got for appetizers? Flautas?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got some flautas. And then you got your tacos. I think you got tacos el pastor, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was still a large amount of food, but Oscar can tell you it was definitely a step down from what I used to do at some points.
Yeah.
And so it was incremental. It was the beginning. I remember I couldn't finish the Super Jose burrito, fun fact. Put it in a to-go box, went home, ate it the next day. So I like where this is starting to go. I'm saying, okay, I'm headed in the right direction. Then I get into school again, Nova, here in August 2019. I go through a little slump of depression here for a little while. It could be medication based. I was taking a certain medication at the time that probably didn't react well to me. It could be a couple incidents that were happening in my life at the time. There were a few problematic stuff that were going on simultaneously. So I go through a slump of depression. But I'm here. I go to Nova. I'm doing okay. I say okay, meaning I'm just going through the motions. I think it was October, November. I had weighed in at like a 185, 186, and I said, okay, this is plateauing. I hope maybe I have to add another routine, another part to my regimen. I realized I wasn't drinking enough water. Let's just be honest. I wasn't an avid consumer of water. And you'd be surprised how water helps. I started to drink more water, slowly start to implement it into my diet. And then late December 2019 into January 2020, I come down with Epstein-Barr virus. Epstein-Barr, more commonly known as yes, mononucleosis, something like that. But the
Or
fancy one is Epstein-Barr.
for those teenagers out there, they're kissing disease.
But only about 1% of folks who get it from kissing. And I will tell you, I was not kissing anyone at the time. And I make that very clear. And I say at the time, but I still am not kissing anyone. Well, we also got COVID, so you don't want to be kissing anyone. But so I came down with this Epstein-Barr, and Epstein and Barr. Sorry. I'm pretty sure it's not named after the Epstein and the Barr I'm thinking of, but both those people are horrible, terrible people. But anyway, off topic. The Epstein-Barr virus, and I don't know if that had anything to do with anything, but I would sweat gallons. Pardon me. Throughout the duration of undergoing the symptoms of this virus. And
you were sweating bullets.
Sweating bullets, yeah. Sweating bullets. I weighed in at 180.
Sweating
buckets. Mm-hmm. I weighed in at 180. So I said, it might be all the sweating. But I started to feel better again. I regained my appetite because the appetite was kind of lost. But I didn't regain it as aggressively as I did before this virus. Before this virus, I'd go and eat some giant beef ribs at Coastal Flats, which is a great restaurant here as well. And
I remember
be
you
able
didn't
to down
finish
them with
those
bread.
either.
I didn't finish those, yeah, but this was pre-virus, pre-Epstein-Barr. So I still was able to eat more than I could post-Epstein-Barr. I remember we went out post-Epstein-Barr to a beautiful restaurant called the Sweetwater Tavern. And I remember my fajitas ended up going home with me because I couldn't eat them the same day, the first day. So it was just my appetite in general was going down, but not in an unhealthy way. I didn't feel unhealthy about it. I felt fine about it. I was still drinking plenty of water. And I was doing more walking outside because I increased my regimen from 30 minutes to an hour 30 or whatever I can. And then COVID came around honestly at the perfect time because what ended up happening with COVID is we stayed home more. So we ended up walking more outside, getting some fresh air. So that ultimately helped, right? I came in at one point at 174. This was around the Super Bowl. The 49ers were playing the Kansas City Chiefs that day, I remember. That was the Super Bowl, actually. I came in at 174. A few weeks later, 172. Last I checked. Okay, so pre-Ramadan, 168. Post-Ramadan, maybe because they ate plenty of desserts, 172 again. Last I checked was June 11th, 2020. I was at 167.
There you go.
And kind of sort of where I am now, in the 160s, maybe early 170s. But that's healthy, I want to build up some muscle, start to look ripped, you know what I mean? I want to do some of that stuff, get some abs, get some six-pack, start to look nice. But there's a problem that still remains with me. And it's not an appetite problem as much as it's a constant thinking of food problem, right? And I'm always thinking about food. I'm always wanting more. And I'm not limiting myself. Don't get me wrong. The answer to thinking about food is just don't limit yourself and just portion control. I'm not limiting myself. I'm eating carbs, I'm eating protein, I'm eating sugars, I'm eating fats, I'm eating all the food groups, I'm eating omega 3s, all of it. But I'm just always thinking about food, always talking about food, man. I could talk about food all day. And I think it's a little more than just a passion. I worry it's an obsession with food. I don't want to describe it as an eating disorder. At one point, you would have thought I had an eating disorder, but now I could control my intake, but I still can't seem to control my thoughts of wanting more food. You know, I would be full, feel full. This happened a lot this Ramadan actually, where I would feel full and know I'm full, but I'll still like tell my family, hey, I don't know, I think I want a dessert, or hey, I'm gonna go get me a second plate, or hey, could you guys serve me up a second plate, or and I know I'm already full. I would ask them, hey, who's baking for dessert tonight? And I know I'm already full. So that's a problem, and that's still there. That hasn't gone away. So I've addressed like the symptoms. I've really addressed them and eliminated them. But you got to also address the disease, because then otherwise there's going to be no cure to the disease. You're just going to sit here and always fight an internal struggle. That's where the key of the problem lies. Look, I have no problem with the fact that I've reduced my consumption amounts. I'm happy that I've done that. I'm happy that I reduced my consumption amounts. I'm happy that I reduced my appetite. However, I also got to figure out why I'm staying up all night thinking about food, watching YouTube videos about the top 10 best restaurants in the world, watching
Well, then
all these
again,
good.
we've been in. Here's the thing: we've been in quarantine, so because I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. I'm not the. Well, yeah, I'm the one that door dashes and Uber Eats, but there are restaurants that don't like. Some restaurants like don't have like DoorDash and Uber Eats and all that good stuff. So I'm thinking here, man, I would love to. Like for example, you have good restaurants that we don't have down here. Because here's the thing: I've dined or gotten an order from those restaurants multiple times. Like there is nothing new here on Woodbridge, and you guys have you have a plethora of options, and I want to go. But the thing is, with COVID, I'm not willing to risk that.
No, I understand and I agree. But even pre-quarantine, pre-COVID, I'm always just watching videos on food, on how to cook this, on how to cook that. I want to talk about recipes. I want to talk about good foods, and I want to talk. And it's funny. I enjoy talking about healthy foods, but I enjoy talking about healthy foods, but I also enjoy talking about what's the greasiest, most unhealthy calorie bomb. Like I enjoy that kind of stuff. An ooey gooey cheesy fried burrito with fried rice inside and some orange chicken. I like talking about that stuff. Jason had told us, Jason was a guest on one of our previous episodes, Jason Alamillo. He had told me about a program. I can't remember the name. It's called Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, I think. Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. And I've been wanting to check it out because it sounds like it's food related. So, but the point is the thought process, the root of the problem. That's where I think I need to address. Is there an underlying issue I'm hiding behind? Is there a wall I'm hiding behind? Like I said, I went through that slump of depression, but that was, I think, medication induced. We've since gotten off that medication, thankfully. But that's gone. That's gone. That's finito is what they say in Spanish, I hope.
Yeah. Well, what's your moral so that way we can, debate something? Because
Oh, he wants to get into the debate, the fun stuff. Yeah, definitely.
so what's your takeaway from this story?
There are many takeaways.
Okay,
I'll
name one, because if you name all of them, we're gonna be here for another hour. See how I'm teaching you to.
to be less long-winded. I know you guys probably get tuned out sometimes. I'm very long-winded. I guess the biggest takeaway is, and I don't know why this makes me pause and choke up a little. I'm sorry. It means a lot to me. Be humble. Be humble. Don't be greedy. Realize you're not invincible. Like there's going to be a day when your health and your body strength, or eventually lack thereof, is going to catch up with you. I to this day suffer with ankle pains and knee pains, even if I've dropped the pounds. I've probably strained my ankles and knees as a result. I walk around with some stretch marks on my stomach. So I'm not ready to show off my beach bod, and it's not an insecurity as much as it is this could have all been avoided had I been reasonable and practiced portion control from the beginning. Like I said, I kind of was a large eater since I was a kid, since I was a child. No one's fault but my own, of course, but I was a large consumer all along. So when I had gone up on the consumption scale, when I had started putting away more food, packing away more food, when my capacity expanded, I didn't feel like it expanded much, although it did, because I was already eating a lot as a child anyway. So, your biggest takeaway, I think, don't underestimate your body's health. Don't underestimate your body's abilities, because you have lots of abilities, but also don't overestimate or over leverage. And more importantly, don't hide behind food or other items as coping mechanisms. Confront whatever the problem is at hand and realize what it is and address it. I can say with definitive certainty that I had used the food to hide behind other insecurities I had that weren't food related or physical appearance related, but there were some insecurities definitely, and I don't know that they coincided, but I do know that they coincided. I don't know that they went side by side with each other or simultaneously worked with each other, but I do think if you're gonna have to cope with something and confront something, addressing it is better than hiding behind another coping mechanism of expressing the pain or expressing the complication you're not willing to confront. Others use alcoholism, others use drugs as outlets, some people use positive outlets. They work out, they meditate, they do yoga, they swim, they play piano, they sing to their heart's content. Some open the holy books and read from scripture, the Quran or the Bible, and or the Torah. And it's just like, find a coping mechanism that's positive, but also address the matter at hand, whatever it may be. But most importantly, don't overexert your body. Don't overexert your capacity. Don't overexert your human capabilities. So there's lots to work on. I one day maybe should do like a reveal, a photo side by side or a video side by side of when I was at my largest, when I was a big meatball, and where I am now. Like I said, there's some improving I gotta do. Gotta get some slapping my abs here. Gotta get some ripped abs. Gotta get rid of these stretch marks. There's a lot I'll need to do. But all in all, from 220 at the last measured peak, I'm pretty sure it went higher. To 167, give or take, is a pretty substantial journey. But I do want to address the matter at hand, which is the overconsumption of, or desire to overconsume, the desire to want to think about food, the desire to make food front and center, the desire to make it more than just a passion, more than just a discussion point for me. That needs to be addressed. I don't know that that's an eating disorder as much as that's just I'm too deeply in love with food. When I fall in love with something, I kind of get too caught up in its throes and its love. So yeah, that's really, I guess, the biggest takeaway I can offer y'all.
All right. Now, let's just spend a few minutes, Naim, just because I need to put my phone to charge again. Because
Okay.
that again, this is actually pretty good, but I didn't charge up my phone as much as I would have hoped or would have known. But all right. So, and this may be a quick debate because let's be honest, sometimes you do end up, no pun intended, trump me in most of the debates.
No, you always have valid points to offer. You always have valid points to offer. So we want to talk today. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you go ahead. You lead this away.
So really, what defines someone as being cheap or being a cheapskate? You hear different YouTube series, or like stuff like that, like extreme cheapskates or different competitions of folks who can be the most cheapest cheapskate, stuff like that. And we had a great conversation, but this kind of happened in passing on our conversation with Jason Alamillo on Friday, where we were talking about, would you pay for a subscription to make sure your data is not mined, to make sure your data is not bought and sold, and to have access to the wild, wild west where you can post whatever you like without being fact checked. I was saying about, offering that option of paid subscription. And Oscar made a good point that I personally may or may not pay the money for that because I'd prefer the free alternative. And that definitely came up that, in some regards, I am a cheapskate. So we want to talk about, what does it mean to be a cheapskate? Am I really a cheapskate? Or am I just very discretionary with my spending? And whichever one is the right answer, I hold it with pride, I guess. But let's talk. Why do you, Oscar, feel I'm a cheapskate? And give me examples, please.
I was gonna say you can start, and maybe I can try to find a counteract.
Okay, so I'm going to explain why I'm just discretionary with my spending. So I just spent a whole bunch of time talking about how much I love food and have to get my food under control. But needless to say, I love to spend money on food. I love to enjoy food. Hey, if I'm going to get a deal, a free deal, a freebie, I'm going to take it, right? If I'm going to get a coupon, I'm going to take it, right? And it's not about a lack of money. There's an abundance of money to go around, but take advantage of the discounts while they're provided, because the company that provided the discounts made it available for a reason, right? So there's that. I do enjoy, but if I had the choice between spending money on food or spending money on a $9.95 per month subscription for YouTube Premium or Spotify Premium, I would prefer to spend it on food. So I find that to be discretionary. However, I would never, almost never, spend money on, say, a music streaming service.
Yeah,
I
I
take Spotify
that
with the ads.
okay. That yeah, I agree with you there because I don't even care for. Because here's the thing. Well, then again, subscriptions are up to you, but I agree with you with music because sometimes I ask my siblings like, why do you like need the 12.99 for Spotify or the 9.99 for Apple? You can just pay 9.99 for YouTube, whatever it is, premium. You can like find like if you're into albums, all you need to do is download the albums of the artists you like, and then they'll be right there. You just you can just go on your way. Now,
Well,
for
see, that's
something
where I would go. I would go a step further, though. I'd go a step. I wouldn't even spend on YouTube Premium at all.
well here's the thing.
Music or
Some
streaming videos, I'd do it
well
totally for free and
well
no
well
other way. If
well with them, it's because sometimes when they when they like for example, if we're gonna go out of the
drive through
country,
the woods.
yeah, yeah, and sometimes, and trust me, music keeps that's something that they actually keeps them from falling asleep at the wheel is
Mm,
listening to music. So that's why like
okay.
that's why they pay for those. I understand that, but to have like multiple, because I remember my sister got a subscription for Spotify, got a subscription for Apple Music, and then my brother got a subscription for Spotify and like other stuff, and I'm like, just pick one.
Yeah. No, so I could respect that. See, but that goes back to discretionary spending. They have decided that for them, they prefer to allocate some budget to something like that because they need it to, so they won't fall asleep behind the wheel.
Now, for example,
Um,
me, well, Netflix, my sister pays for it. Hulu, she pays for it. Disney Plus, I pay for it, but it's only like $5, $6.
yeah. See,
So
I guess entertainment's never caught my fancy. I wouldn't pay for any of that at all.
no,
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
Because here's the thing, I pay for like an audio descriptive like service, and sometimes I do need it because sometimes I remember dude, when we were in there are certain classes where I would need the audio description, and I would just double check to see if it was in zero.
Hmm.
Dude, and it was there, and I would just use the audio description instead of having say the reader scribe or like the professor, like just so that way like not many people are talking during the movie and stuff or during the video. So I think that's something
Wow.
beneficial that I would use
Yeah,
Suro
that's
for.
that's that's pretty cool. And we should do an episode one day on audio description and how you consume audio descriptive content. But which is, a description of whatever it is you're watching on the video, on the movie. But yeah, see, entertainment, maybe I'll need it for a class, but entertainment has never caught my fancy to spend money on. Like I get lucky that T-Mobile, I have a T-Mobile phone account. T-Mobile provides Netflix on the bill. It comes with the T-Mobile at a discounted rate, real
So,
discounted rate.
Hulu should
So
as well,
I
by
don't
the way.
mind it. It's there. I'll take advantage of it. The service is available. Yeah, Hulu goes with Sprint.
Hulu,
I don't know since now T-Mobile and Sprint merged whether we can get access to both. But
I
yeah,
think I think they do because I see them advertise Hulu, Netflix, and now Disney Plus. Is what I noticed.
wow. Yeah. See, now, and here's the other thing. People must take me. This is where I get real cheapskate on you, right? I won't get if Disney Plus, let's say, is not available in a free version. I just won't get it. Fine, you know. I could go watch my Disney movies on you know, on those old VCR tapes, for the older movies, like the older Aladdin, the older Pocahontas, and that will be what it will be. And if I don't have access to the new content, well, I don't have access to new content. Too bad, so sad for me. I made the choice to miss out on that. Now, I think where it gets wild is I do like if I see, if I do see like a nice happy hour special, right, at a restaurant, like they say from 3 to 7, you can get like, you know, $5 appetizers or something like a decent price deal like that. I'll take advantage of that by all stretches of the imagination, right? But I think for me,
Oh, here's an
what
example
it
of being a
is it's
cheapskate. Here
okay.
it is an example. So you need a new phone because let's be honest, you really do need it.
We can
Um,
debate. Do I need or do I is it like this one's
you
working?
you
It's not bad.
no, but dude, it's so outdated that there is gonna be a time where when your iPhone updates, it won't update anymore. Like your apps, nothing will work just because you know the interface of that the updates will just so. Anyways, back to what I was saying, because you, your gigs, 16 gig, man, it's not enough. Like the reason why we haven't filmed like as much content, like we're making it up now, but imagine let's say that you try to clear out your phone, like your plan is, but
Yes.
imagine if that's not enough. What are you gonna do then? Because there are apps that you're gonna need, like Zoom, Skype. Uh, Help me out here.
So
Your
once,
Gmail
yeah,
app that you.
Gmail, YouTube. Well, YouTube's entertainment. I can go with or without, but it'd be helpful to have it. I would like Zoom, Skype, Gmail, YouTube, Ira, which is a nice service I have here. By the way, we could get into conversation about whether I'd pay for Ira or not, and because that's one I use a lot. And probably if I have room, I'd throw in some Grubhub because Grubhub's got some good deals. Ooh, and I'd throw in some Netflix if there's room. But that's as far as I would go in terms of like the essential apps I need. I think once I delete my text messages, a thousand and bazillion ones from 2017, I think I'll be able to yield more room for myself and for my phone. I see your argument. Eventually updates won't suffice anymore, and
To be
eventually
honest, I'm
app
quite surprised.
interfaces.
I'm quite surprised that you're able your apps in your phone are still working with the updates. I'm quite surprised about that.
Yeah, they are working quite well. But once that becomes a real problem, then and it interferes with my ability to get stuff done, like the app interfaces start to get complicated, then I will consider going in and buying one. But for the time being, it will just be a luxury to have an upgraded phone. But I don't want to buy into this consumeristic need to always have to buy more and more new phones.
No. Because here's the thing. I
It's
don't.
outdated in looks only right now. It's not outdated in software yet.
No. Because here's the thing. I agree with you there. Because my thing is, my family they have to have the new thing. They always like they when the iPhone they okay so they had the iPhone 5 when the iPhone 6
Hmm.
came out. They had to oh man, we need to get the iPhone 6. The iPhone when they had their iPhone 6, the iPhone 7 came out. Oh, we have to have the iPhone 7. The iPhone 8 came out. Oh, we got to get the iPhone 8. Then the iPhone 10. Oh, we got to update again. iPhone 10. I mean, iPhone 10 and iPhone 11 are the same, so thank God they haven't updated to the iPhone 11. But I'm here happy. The only time that I needed to switch from the iPhone 5 to iPhone 6 was because the interface was already old,
Mm.
and I needed to get an iPhone 6. And then the same thing happened. Hence the reason why I needed to update to the iPhone 8 was I got tired of my being under my dad's plan, and the interface was like I needed more storage because there were more apps that I needed to install. So
Yeah. Hmm.
but
Yeah.
I haven't updated since. Like I haven't even even thought about getting the iPhone 10 because I'm happy with my iPhone 8 Plus.
Well, don't get me wrong. When I get the new phone, I'm going to get the newest phone on the shelf at that point. I'm going to get the newest phone on the market at that point. The newest, bestest, most amazingest. I don't know if that's a word, but you get the point. I'll get the newest one available at that point. Then I'll probably hold that one for as long as I can, milk it till it can't be milked anymore. And once that's been so thoroughly used and became a soggy sock, then indeed I will get the newest one that's available at that very point, and just keep on doing it that way. Just keep on getting the newest one available at each particular point in time. But yeah, okay, so I think a good example, I use Ira. Ira is a service where you work virtually with a live human agent who helps you go through tasks. Let's say there are some websites that are inaccessible for your screen reader JAWS or your screen reader VoiceOver or anything like that. So I go ahead and I reach out to
By
the
the way,
live human agent.
that's another podcast. What's better, NVDA or JAWS? 'Cause I remember Jason and I were about to debate it because he said that NVDA is like JAWS is better. But at the end of the
Mm,
day, I say if you don't have the resources to get JAWS, you might as well get NVDA because
yeah, and that's reasonable. That's a reasonable point,
here's the thing,
But
you can use the argument, oh, I can just go ahead and get a Mac because voiceovers and stuff. But Mac, I've had a
mhm.
Mac before, and you can't use Microsoft unless it's Microsoft 365. But unless you're not in school, you still have to pay for Microsoft 365, and I think it's like $400 $500, for your own Microsoft 365, for that to work.
So I think you would have to draw out the pros and the cons of JAWS and NVDA and eventually make that decision. But I think the base of the debate, what you should use as the platform of the debate, is assuming you have the resources for both JAWS and NVDA. And then
Because
once that question's been
NVDA is
established,
free.
which one's better?
NVDA is free, period. Like there's no
Yeah, no,
trial,
I
there's
know
no
NVDA is free,
J-
but let's say you had the
JAWS. I think
$950 to pay for JAWS.
yeah, JAWS is like
Yeah.
$1,000.
So let's say you had the $1,000 to pay for JAWS, right? Let's say you had the $1,000 to pay for JAWS. Then the choice, which one's better, JAWS or NVDA, there's still room for debate on that because NVDA, some people say works better for coding, for software developing, for open source items, stuff like that. So, that's a discussion I think you and Jason would have, and maybe we could bring Jason on a future episode of our podcast, and we could have that conversation. That'd be really cool. And that's where that debate will prove who's the real winner. And yes, the pro for NVDA, which is another screen reader as is JAWS, is that it's free. It's free, period. It's free all the way. It's free, no questions asked. But there must be things that make JAWS better, assuming you have the resources for both. But I think it's a great debate and conversation. But I think for me, with Ira, consuming Ira, and we could even talk about Ira on a podcast, but consuming Ira, I currently have I currently have a good deal. And since I'm actively attending classes at Northern Virginia Community College with COVID and everything, I've been provided that resource for when I need it. So it's available. Once it becomes unavailable to me, the decision will be mine. Do I want to pay the monthly subscription for the 30 minutes? Or I want to pay the monthly subscription for the 60 minutes? And admittedly, IRA is quite pricey. But do I
Yeah,
want to
so I think
pay
that if
that?
it's because if it's unlimited, I think it's like 300 a month.
And here's the catch, man. Here's the catch. They pull your leg. They've eliminated the unlimited now. So
Oh, they
yeah,
have?
yeah, it's pretty unfortunate, man. So I think the max you could get is like maybe 300 or 400 minutes, and then you have to buy more minutes. So yeah, it's quite unfortunate, right? You can't just buy the unlimited and call it a day, because the unlimited's a good deal. It's like $300 or $329 it was, and then you just pay that per month, $329 per month, and you have unlimited minutes forever and ever and ever. So will I pay? Will I pay the money for IRA when it's not available to me at no charge? Will I? I think that's where I'll have to go through. Now, luckily, I have the skills to operate for the most part without IRA, because I used to obviously operate without IRA and still maintain those
Remember?
skills and still have that be the case.
So
I
I don't know
still
if you
maintain.
remember. Sorry to
Mhm.
interrupt, but I don't know if you remember. So remember, I got that promotion for like 3 minutes and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
I completely forgot to cancel like because they were gonna bill me for the month. And
Okay.
remember, I forgot to cancel it beforehand, so I literally had to call them when they opened up at like what was it like? I think it was
9 a.m. our time, 6 a.m. their time on the Pacific Coast.
yeah, and I remember like I didn't even like, and it had to be on the dot, and I remember I didn't get enough sleep that day, so I remember I called them like just to make sure I canceled that subscription, and I knocked back out. Remember that? That was
That's
wild.
that's always a good feeling, when you could just get the thing knocked out, taken care of, and then you can just go back to sleep. But yeah, no, and it's kind of like, will I pay for that resource? And I think, obviously I have the skills for the most part. If I run into inaccessibility barriers, I'll do it like I used to do. There's a free service called Be My Eyes, which doesn't provide a lot, but it's
It
free.
really doesn't. And in my opinion, I don't want to insult, Be My Eyes because they helped me out
They're
before
and they're all volunteers.
before IRA was a thing. But the volunteers. Some of them, yeah, they're nice, but the majority that I've gotten, they sound like they're kind of in a rush. So they're kind of like not very standoffish. If you get what I don't want to call them mean or rude, but like very standoffish.
And I think there's some sort of thing where they could only have like a certain amount of minutes with you because it's free. But that's the thing. I will go back to how I used to do things before IRA, which was I would ask a sighted person if they're nearby. I would use Be My Eyes. I would problem solve, see if it works better on my phone as opposed to my laptop or vice versa. So I think more likely than not, I won't pay for IRA, but what I might do. Here's what I might do. And maybe this is your best argument that I'm a cheapskate. What I might do is find, let's say, a Starbucks. I don't know if a Starbucks would have IRA, but let's say a Starbucks had IRA. Go in there, buy me a coffee and a donut and a vanilla scone and a croissant and everything, a sandwich maybe, or I'm trying to practice eating small amounts. So I'll just get a sandwich and a coffee, right? Or a lemon
Or a
chiffon yogurt
croissant.
and a coffee. Or a croissant.
Or
Yeah,
a
exactly.
croissant. Yeah.
And a frappuccino. Man, them frappuccinos are good. I told
Yeah,
you guys in a
yeah, I
bonus
got.
segment about how I like my frappuccino without coffee. I like it cream based, and I don't even put any ice in it. It's straight up heavy cream with a whole bunch of toppings like chocolate chips and syrups and pumps and drizzles and everything and sauces.
I gotta give Starbucks credit. At least their fraps are actually pretty good. I don't like
Yeah, they're.
anything else though. I don't like
Mm,
anything else off their menu.
I like their fraps. Their fraps are the bomb.com,
But
and I
but I
definitely respect their sandwiches.
but I remember. So there was this time, and I think this will just be the last story before we wrap up. So be
Oh no, I
prepared
should
to.
tell you about how I'm gonna cheapskate Ira. Then I'll let you go
Oh
for
yeah,
sure. So I'll basically
yeah.
get a sandwich and a coffee, and then if they say they provide free Ira, I'll sit there, use their Wi-Fi and their free Ira. Like, look, I'm not cheapskate
No,
to the point where
yeah.
I'll use my neighbor's free
I would.
Wi-Fi, But
I
I'll
would
use
do the
Starbucks
same.
free Wi-Fi.
I would do the same.
Mm.
I would do exactly the same.
So let us know in the comments below if Naim is a cheapskate or not, or am I just a discretionary spender, or if there's another way of expressing it. And whatever y'all's decision is, I hold it with great pride because it's been working out for my finances thus far.
No,
And trust me, it's not about a lack of money. It's just about a choice of where I want to spend and where I don't want to spend. Allocate the spending, allocate the funds. So go ahead. You have an amazing story about Starbucks sandwiches.
yeah. So I remember, um, well, it's not Starbucks sandwiches, but like the setting. So I remember my dad and I went to the airport to go pick up my grandpa, from his side of the family. This was like years ago, like 10 years ago. He was like, "You want to come with me? And we'll eat afterwards." And I'm like, "Bet." It doesn't matter. But I don't know if it's because either my dad got the flight or my grandpa got the flight wrong, or if I don't know if it was the flight got delayed or something like that. But dude, we were at the airport. We got to the airport at 6 p.m. We were at the airport until 12 a.m. And there was literally nothing. And I repeat, nothing in the airport there to eat. Like, and I think this was Dulles that was open. Like the only thing that was open was Starbucks, and Starbucks had some crummy sandwiches. Dude, it was the nastiest thing that I've ever tasted. Man, oh man.
Wow. I usually have positive experiences with Starbucks sandwiches, like their chicken salad wraps and their other items. Even their breakfast sandwiches are
No,
pretty
I
good.
I
Their
I
egg
I
and
think
cheese
I
and
think
spinach. Their
I
spinach
think
feta
it's
wrap.
I think it's because they were about to close in the airport as well. That's why. Like, but dude, like that was horrible.
Yeah,
Like
they got a really
spending
good spinach
spend
feta wrap.
spending 6 hours in the airport. No, like
So once your grandpa came in, did you guys go and get a bite?
no, dude, because it was like my grandpa's old.
Oh, so he wasn't hungry, or he didn't care to
I mean, it
eat
was already
anything at
late
that.
too. I didn't care about food. I just wanted to go home because I was exhausted.
Hmm. I see. I see. Banchan. Banchan's a really good chicken place. I know you had gotten a meal from there today or yesterday. It's a really, really tasty place. Could you give us a quick description of all the tasty you got and how it's really a nice place? My personal endorsement, I enjoyed it. I'm pretty sure Oscar also enjoys it when he gets it.
Okay,
So talk to us
so
about Banchan a little.
I get what's called chicken strips and pop stickers. Like, I always get the half and half for both, which is half spicy, half soy garlic.
Hmm.
So I remember when I first went to Banchan. My brother, I guess, went with a group of friends before he took my sister and myself to the restaurant. And they were like they were talking about, oh, we're gonna split because the strips are are kind of like large. Well, for them because they're skinny people. But you and I are gonna split. We're gonna get half and half. And I was like, you know what? I'm like, you guys are all punks and you guys are losers. I bet it's not all that spicy, John. I'm like, and here's the thing, John loves himself some spicy stuff, even though it does horrible things to his stomach later. Um, I'm like, I can't believe you're gonna, chicken out on, spicy. And he was like, Oscar, it's really spicy. And he warned me. He was like, it's really spicy. I suggest if you're gonna get spicy, you might as well get something like half and half, because you're not gonna finish it. I was like, and I didn't even pay attention. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, watch this, dude. I remember so if you ask me, if I can get like 10 spicy now, I can probably finish it in one sitting. But dude, that first time, my mouth by strip number 4 or 5, dude, I literally started breathing fire like a dragon. And I even
Breathing
made the
fire like a
dragon noise.
dragon.
I literally was like, I actually made like a dragon type basket like noise.
What noises do dragons make? I don't know.
You don't want to know.
I don't know. But yeah, no. So yeah, when I've had banchan, I've really enjoyed it. It's really good spiciness. I got their bone-in chicken, like their fried chicken legs or something, and they were pretty tasty as well. And then their pickled cabbage. I mean, their pickled kimchi coleslaw. So it's not like straight up kimchi,
So
but it's kimchi with a little bit of mayo, like a
so
kimchi slaw.
so my sister likes their coleslaw, but my brother and I don't like it because in our taste and in our opinion, it's like very salty.
Yeah, so it's
That that's
pickled, I think, the
that's
kimchi. Did you
that,
get the
that,
kimchi
that
coleslaw or regular coleslaw?
uh I don't know. When I just
Probably
say
got
give
the
me
kimchi.
when
Yeah, the
well here in
kimchi
Woodbridge,
coleslaw.
well you gotta remember here in Woodbridge there are not many options because you gotta remember I told you that there was a vegetable option of the pop stickers and
Yeah,
there's
you said there was
pork
a
of and
vegetable option at ours in Fairfax.
yeah exactly, but there's not a vegetable option here in Woodbridge.
Oh, wow, that's
So
wild.
I'm not so
That's
I'm
pretty
not
crazy.
uh, so I'm not sure if we have because when I say coleslaw, they give me the like just the normal coleslaw. But my brother and I
Normal
don't like it
coleslaw, so
because
it's not
it's
kimchi.
yeah.
Mhm.
So
Your brother
like
doesn't care for it because it's too salty?
yeah, we don't care. Him and I don't care for it because it's too salty. So
I
but because
see.
we opt to get the radish because it tastes better.
Hmm. Yeah, no, it's very good stuff. They got some radish too. They got the vegetable pot stickers. They got some really good stuff out there. You were telling me your brother doesn't do spicy well. I want to ask folks in the comments below. I used to love to drink milk and heavy cream and whipping cream and all that stuff, and still do, admittedly, still do it anyway. But recently, it's been giving me bloating and gas, and I'm like, do you get lactose intolerance like later on in life? Is that how that works? Because I've picked it up. I've seemed to have picked it up only recently, the past year or so, 21, 22 years old. I remember the very first time I felt wacky for having a milk-based item was it was out. It was in May 2019 when I went out to Phoenix, Arizona, and I went to a place. Y'all know it. I think it's called
Oh,
Red Robin.
seriously, I think this is the literally the last topic. So think of your remark after this.
Red Robin Gourmet Burgers and Brews, I think is what it's called. I got a nice milkshake. It was pretty sized. I think it was called a Monster. Brought an extra tin. And I had gotten that milkshake. Then I went and went to a thing they have out there in the West, the desert Southwest. They call soda shops. I think that's what they call them, soda shops. We don't have them over here on the East Coast, or we don't have much of them. I guess I could ask Siri if there's one nearby. But I got a soda, and I remember it was cream based somehow. It was cream based, butter cream based. I think it was like supposed to be an imitation or a mimic of I guess some sort of thing they discuss or talk about or drink in the Harry Potter series called the butter beer. Anyway, it was something impressionistic of something like that, but it was butter. It was cream based. It was cream based. And I remember that night, my stomach was making noises. It was going wild in there. And I just like, oh, okay, that's weird. I must have eaten too much today, whatever. But ever since then, every time I drink milk, you'd hear like a live rock band up there in my stomach. It's quite embarrassing, especially in public. It's quite embarrassing.
Yeah,
Like,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
so I
I
try
know.
not to have cream-based desserts or tres leches, which is really good, or
No,
or anything like
I
that. And
I see what you're talking about with the. I don't know what it. I think it has something to do with the lactose.
yeah, and
I
it's
don't think
like I
we're
love it,
intolerant.
so
I
I
think
still
it's
do it.
more like our stomachs get like unresistant per se.
Okay, yeah, because it does send me to the restroom sometimes, and
Yeah.
brr,
Yep.
you get the point. You get the point.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
gas,
Yeah.
but it's crazy because it's just like it always making noise, and I still do it. I still consume. still consume plenty of dairy products, but it does that to me. So I've tried to reduce it. And it's funny. One of the things I have cut out from my diet, which also probably accelerated my ability to drop pounds, is I've significantly cut out soda, significantly. So I will have a soda here or there. And I've significantly cut out milk, particularly whole milk. Now, I guess
You
that
need to get
defeats the purpose when I go to Starbucks and get a
2%.
cream-based frappuccino. But yeah, I've cut out whole milk.
Two.
Go ahead.
You can try like 2%.
You know, I try, but it's just like in general, it does more blah, 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 blah for my stomach than it does me satisfaction of the brain. So
No, I know, but because I did ask a personal trainer for like the gym. I was like, so what milk do you recommend like me drinking? He was like 2%. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I already drink that stuff anyway. So on like a workout basis, I think like you would have to like stop with uh, whole milk and just do 2%.
yeah, no, I've cut out milk altogether. I still drink a cup here or there, don't get me wrong, but I've primarily cut it out. I've shifted more to a more enjoyable like almond milk, oat milk. Ooh wee. I love
Oat
me some
milk?
good oat
Wait,
milk,
what?
man.
Wait,
Oat
what?
milk, it's really good stuff. Oat milk, OAT, like oatmeal, milk. And it's made out of
I've
the oats, the
never
same oats.
I've never heard of that. What?
My younger sister makes a really good oat milk, by the way. We should bring her on this podcast to talk about her oat milk. And she makes it really good. She's got a nice
I've heard
recipe
of
with a nice vanilla
okay.
hint.
I've heard of almond milk, soy
Cashew
milk,
milk.
regular milk, but I've never heard of oat milk.
Soy milk is so unhealthy, by the way.
Yeah, it is. It has
It's
hormones.
no, it has hormones, so it's not as unhealthy as it's like. I used to drink lots of it, and now you could look at my chest. Okay, that was a weird way of saying it. There's a little bit. There are some
You have
hills.
not estrogen,
Eh,
but
yes, estrogen. Um,
oh, okay.
so all humans have a little bit of estrogen, a little bit of testosterone, but males have a different balance of each, and females have a different balance of each. Males tend to have more testosterone.
Testosterone.
Hashtag testicles. That's I think where that term comes from. And then females tend to have more estrogen. I can't tell you I have more estrogen than guys should have, but I definitely have some hills on my chest. But if I work out, get some muscles, it'll flatten out. I don't think it'll ever like fully go away because of the amount of soy milk I used to consume in milk when I was younger. But it's definitely there. But yeah, no, I love almond milk. I've had cashew milk here and there. Cashew milk's pretty good.
I've had
But
cashew
the one that takes
juice, but I haven't.
cashew juice is good too.
Oh, I haven't had coconut milk, but I've had coconut water.
Coconut milk and coconut water and coconut milk used for cooking, which is a heavy canned coconut milk, are all pretty good. But by far my favorite's always oat milk because it's got that rich, flavorful, it loves swimming around in your mouth and absorbing your taste buds and being entranced with the passion of oats. Passion of oats. That would be a nice company name for an oat milk. So Passion of Oats will be my new production. I'll jack my sister's recipe. She's got a nice hint of vanilla in her oat milk.
Excuse me.
But oat milk's really good. You could get it at your local Whole Foods. You could get it at your local. I think Harris Teeter even offers some. But you could even get it at certain coffee shops. They'll put oat milk in your coffee as opposed to regular milk. They'll have almond milk. I know at Starbucks they have almond milk and coconut milk. I like to get either or. But when I get the cream-based frappuccinos, I just go all out. All heavy cream, whipped cream, everything. I mean, if I'm going to have a lactose intolerant fiesta tonight, I might as well live it up to the fullest, right?
Yeah.
Sour cream and cream cheese and all those good stuff. Those dairy products are really amazing. But if I have to do it, I better do it all in one day because I know I'm going to have pain afterwards. Yeah. So enjoy it while it lasts. But you diverted me with that when you had brought up your brother and spicy. Spicy doesn't mess with my stomach, but dairy does. And it has only been recently, really.
Well, that's a wrap for us, folks. Again, please subscribe to the No Nonsense Podcast channel. I'll put the link in video description below. You can follow me on Twitter at OscarJMontiel37. Again, with the previous episode, I did state that we're working on, well, it's live now, but I haven't posted anything there yet. But I think that we need to fix that page for the No Nonsense Podcast Twitter account. Naim, where can they find you?
Okay, feel free to drop me an email at any point. NM, so Nancy Master, NM, like the abbreviations for New Mexico. ABU, Abu, so A, B as in boy, U as in umbrella. ELHAWA gmail.com. That's NM, so New Mexico. Abul Hawa, ABUELH as in Harry, AWA at gmail.com. One more time, that's NMABUELHAWA at gmail.com. And finally, one last time, NMABUELHAWA at gmail.com. You can also, subscribe to our No Nonsense Podcast YouTube channel. Click the bell for all notifications because you have to designate that you want all notifications to get all notifications. Otherwise, they send you what they call personalized notifications, whatever the heck that means. That's just the YouTube algorithm deciding what they think you'd like and what they think you won't like. And then there's also an option for no notifications, which there's no point in doing that. So when you subscribe, also make sure you click on all notifications. So click that fancy bell, bing, bing, and you'll be sure to have all that information. I will maybe one day set up social media infrastructure, but right now we're setting up our Twitter for the No Nonsense Podcast where you could catch Oscar or myself. But one day I'll set up personal social media infrastructure. Maybe we'll bring on Oscar and Jason to talk about data and talk me into setting up my own personal social media infrastructure. Because until then, I don't want China or Xi Jinping to access my data. I think that's good stuff.
A postscript, guys. So we're still working out the kinks, but we are actually looking to host our actual first live session, which is gonna be held in a Q&A. So we're still working out the kinks with that. So I will definitely keep you guys posted on when and if we do it.
And we may go live via Skype or other means, so keep an eye out for links.
Yeah, exactly.
In description.
So this was the No Nonsense Podcast, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, fam.